Jinwoo didn't feel he needed to know right away. If the news was good, he wanted to focus on the black key. If it was a warning, he believed he could defeat anyone who tried to hurt him. Also, he wasn't sure he could even trust the information. It was possible the tip was a trick all along. Why bother going if he wasn't even sure there was anything useful? He quickly decided what to do. I will think about it and let you know. Adam was very surprised, looking completely shocked. He couldn't believe it. The important leader from the Hunter Command Center traveled all the way to Korea to share secret information with him. But he simply didn't pay attention and walked off. He began to think Jinwoo was serious when the Korean man opened the van door. Adam felt a shiver run down his spine. He wasn't sure if he'd ever get another chance to talk to Jinwoo, and that worried him. Adam wasn't sure if this was a trick to get him to share information, but he knew the Americans would be in trouble if they let him leave. Okay, see you. As Jinwoo was about to get into the van, Adam called out urgently, "Please, wait." Jinwoo looked at him, so Adam quickly kept talking, trying to hold Jinwoo's attention. "Upgrader, upgrader." Adam sadly explained what the upgrader was. "Have you heard about the powerful person who can make other powerful people even stronger?" He should have started with that. Jinwoo understood that Adam and the assistant director from the Hunter Command Center had something very important to tell him. Something much better than just regular information. A person who can make other powerful people stronger. Jinwoo was finally interested in hearing what they had to say. He walked away from the van and closed the door with a bang. Adam breathed out a long sigh of relief. Phew. Then he looked up and saw Jinwoo already standing right in front of him. Oh my gosh. Adam jumped back surprised. Jinwoo asked him, "Where to?" A black car stopped in front of a very fancy hotel. "Here we are," Jinwoo said. He remembered this was the same hotel mentioned in the note he had received before. Jinwoo had told him that a foreigner who spoke English was looking for him. Was this the man? Jinwoo went with the agent to the room where the assistant director was waiting. Michael Connor was very happy when he saw the Asian man behind the agent. Yes, the hardest part of making a deal is getting the other person to agree to talk. If they came, that meant a big part of the challenge was already over. Michael shook Jinwoo's hand and smiled. "My name is Michael Connor and I help run the Hunter Command Center." Adam quickly translated what Michael said into Korean. Jinwoo shook Michael's hand back. "My name is Hunter Jinwoo Sung." After they said hello, Jinwoo and Michael sat down across from each other at a table. Adam stayed standing near his boss. "Have you met anyone from other countries who also hunts monsters?" Michael asked. "No, I haven't." Michael smiled because that was the answer he wanted. America is usually the fastest to learn new things. A striker in a game needs to be quick to score a goal. Michael wanted to use their early advantage, especially because his boss told him to do everything possible to get this hunter back to the United States. He got straight to the point, and didn't try to avoid the issue. "I will get right to the point," Hunter Sung. With a serious look, Michael pushed a stack of papers toward Jinwoo. He continued, "The United States government wants you, Hunter Sung. And these are papers for immigration. Usually it would take a year or two to finish the process. But your situation is unique." Michael raised one finger. "Wait, just a moment," he said with confidence. "If you agree, in 1 second you will become an American citizen. You wouldn't be a regular citizen though. You would be one of the most skilled hunters in the country." Everything Michael had explained so far seemed normal. But Jinwoo really wanted to learn more about the powerful person called the Upgrader. Adam jumped and looked away when Jinwoo looked at him. Jinwoo turned back to Michael. "I came here because Agent White said I could find some information." Michael started to laugh loudly. "That idea connects to what I've been telling you." "How does it?" "If you become an American citizen, our upgrader can make your skills even stronger." Upgrader, that seemed to be this person's special power. Even though 2 people had told him this, Jinwoo still found it hard to believe. Could someone really have a power that could do that? He needed to find out for sure. Can people really become more powerful? Jinwoo's question excited Michael. Believe it or not, that person is right here with us. Jinwoo already knew another person with special abilities was nearby. A little bit of energy was coming into the room from behind the closed door. Jinwoo was curious why someone with so little magical power had been chosen to protect the assistant director. So Michael's next request didn't really surprise him. "Please bring in Mrs. Selner." He spoke into the intercom. Right away the door opened, and 2 security guards led a middle-aged African-American woman into the room. Jinwoo looked closely at the strange energy coming from the woman. It was definitely different from what he usually sensed from people with new powers. As the woman walked to the table, an agent pulled out a chair for her. She sat down carefully and immediately recognized Jinwoo. "You're the one from the video," the woman said. Selner already knew about Jinwoo, so Michael just needed to introduce them. "This is Mrs. Norma Selner. She is the only person in the world who has awakened and can help others with special powers become even stronger." Selner nodded at Jinwoo, and he nodded back. "Mrs. Selner, please tell Hunter Sung a little about what you can do." A small smile appeared on her face. As she noticed Jinwoo looked unsure. "I see that look often." She leaned closer and spoke quietly. "But once I let them experience it, they all become very attached quickly." Mrs. Selner, she dismissed Michael's worried look with a chuckle. "I understand he is a very important person, Mr. Connor." Norma smiled as she continued explaining. "As you know, Hunter Sung, all people with special abilities have natural limits to how strong they can become. That is why the rankings of those with abilities rarely changed unless someone went through a second awakening. Every hunter knew this important thing." "Mrs. Selner, does that mean you can?" Before Jinwoo could finish asking, Norma answered him happily, like a kid choosing the best strawberry from a cake. "That's right." Jinwoo's eyes got big. "I can help them become stronger in 3 steps. I'm not sure if what's happening is like waking up a power that was hidden, or if their abilities are just getting stronger." What an amazing skill. What Norma just told us was a huge discovery that would surprise all the best hunters in the world. Jinwoo looked at Michael, and the assistant director nodded. "She is telling the truth. The problem is, only 3 or 4 people can get this help each year because Mrs. Selner needs a long rest between using her ability." "How well does it work?" "It works differently for everyone. But people who finish all 3 steps have said they improved between 20 and 30%. 20 to 30% is a lot." Jinwoo's skills were around 20-50 now. If his skills got much better, his total stats could easily be over 300. That is a very high number. This is assuming everything is true. Of course. Does she use a special power to make skills better? Or does she raise his level somehow? Either way, her ability would be very helpful for hunters, meaning many people would want her help. If others learn about what she can do, Michael nodded. "That is why Mrs. Selner is here with us." Norma had been worried about the same thing as Jinwoo, and that is why she decided to join the Hunter Command Center. After thinking it over carefully, she wanted to be able to use her abilities without causing harm. "We make sure that Mrs. Selner is safe and receives good payment, and she helps make our hunters even better. We have been working together like this for a while now." With that, Michael finished explaining. Now it was time to start working. "Mrs. Selner has a special skill we can share with you. Hunter Sung." "A special skill, you say? What could be a better gift for someone who likes to hunt? If you work as a hunter for the United States, you would be very important to Mrs. There was a waiting list for Selner services. Also, we could help connect you with the Hunters Guild. You wanted, making sure you got the best price." This was a great offer no hunter could refuse. Now Jinwoo understood why Dong So-hoon Chugong had decided to move to the United States, even though many other Koreans disagreed with his choice. The large amount of money America offered him wasn't the real reason he left. It was a distraction. Most hunters would be very surprised by this. So think how excited the best hunters would be if they were told they could become even stronger. Who would refuse that offer? "But can you show us that Mrs. Selner actually has this ability?" There was no proof to support what they were saying. Norma spoke up and joined the discussion. "There wasn't any hurry. I am here to let you try it first." Jinwoo suddenly understood what she meant before. Once they tasted it, they all wanted more. Just like she predicted, every hunter who proved her power moved to the United States, exactly as she said it would happen. She believed in herself for good reason. "It's true what she said. Would you like to try and do more?" Michael asked. "Without me helping? Think of this as a small sample, Mr. Hunter." Norma gently touched Jinwoo's wrist. When Jinwoo looked at her, she smiled kindly, and asked him to come nearer. "Please look closely into my eyes." That was the first step. Was what Norma said true? Jinwoo decided to follow her instructions to find out. The assistant director watched them, crossing his arms and leaning back in his chair. "We did it," he agreed. It was a success. Michael noticed Jinwoo still seemed calm, but he didn't think that would last long. He believed Jinwoo would contact them after finishing the first part. Maybe Jinwoo would even sign the papers right away if he felt eager. Michael was now thinking about something else. He wondered how strong Jinwoo could become. Michael unfolded his arms and touched his chin thoughtfully. He looked at Jinwoo with curiosity. Then, "Oh," Norma gasped, blinking quickly. Norma Selner, usually called Mrs. Selner, was a 46-year-old African-American woman. She was the only person in the country with more protection than the president. It meant that if both Mrs. Selner and the president needed help at the same time, the Hunter Command Center would rescue her first. Why was this so? When the previous leader of the Hunter Command Center retired, he explained that Mrs. Selner told the new director as they took over, "The United States will always have the best hunters. But without her help we might have problems with dangerous areas appearing in weaker parts of the country." He was correct. Norma was so skilled that hunters from all over the world wanted to work with her. Because of this, people in America felt safe knowing they were protected from dangerous magical places, no matter where they lived. 26 of the best hunters in the world had even officially become American citizens so they could work with her. There were more hunters from this country than from any other. Each one was the best, chosen by the Special Hunter Command Center. Norma Selner was a secret protector of the United States. No hunter was more valuable, and she always received the best care. Her life was kept very secret, so it was hard for even the president to meet her. Only the best hunters were allowed to meet her, and they had to meet very high standards set by the Hunter Command Center. Agent White had talked about these special people earlier. When you help special people, there are benefits you can receive, even by just sharing information. At first, most of the best hunters, including Jinwoo, didn't realize how important it was to be one of these special people, but they understood once Norma showed them. They would understand who had chosen them, and what that meant. One hunter had fallen to his knees before Norma, happy tears running down his face, because of the strong power he felt. He was from Congo but quickly became a citizen of the United States. That's how it usually happened. So Michael Connor, who was the assistant director of the Hunter Command Center, didn't think anything would be different with Jinwoo. He thought Jinwoo would be very happy as a strong feeling grew inside her, and then ask for more. It was really the best way to explain it. Michael was very sure of himself. But the screaming came from someone else.
Ash!
Norma, who was looking into Jinwoo's eyes, fell off her chair, screaming as if she had seen something scary. The two guards watching her quickly pulled out their guns, and pointed them at Jinwoo. "Stop!"
What are you doing?
Michael shouted at the guards, thinking they were acting foolishly. He jumped up and forced their guns down, quickly telling them, "Do you know who she is? Put your weapons away." "But Mrs. Selner is that doesn't matter. If you are worried about her, help her right now." "Sorry, sir." The agents quickly put their guns down and hurried to help the woman who was shaking on the floor. Her face was very pale. Michael bowed low to Jinwoo. "I am sorry, Hunter Sung. What our people just did was very impolite." He no longer seemed relaxed. His voice shook, showing how surprised he was, even though they were trained to protect Mrs. Selner. "I can't believe they pointed guns at such a skilled hunter. If a different hunter had been there they might have reacted angrily, and Michael could have gotten into trouble too. There was no good reason to point a gun at the most highly ranked hunter in a country where guns aren't allowed." Michael's heart raced when Norma fell from her chair, and again when the agents pulled out their guns. He felt terrible both times. Jinwoo was surprised as well. What just happened? Norma suddenly cried out and fell. Then the agents aimed their weapons at him, and finally the assistant director apologized after scolding his team. Jinwoo was first surprised, then amused, and then it's okay. Everyone was safe, so he didn't want to be angry. The second in command of a very important group had quickly said, "Sorry," and admitted his team had made errors. Jinwoo thought it wouldn't be polite to complain. Also, Jinwoo hadn't felt scared or in danger himself. It was as if they were showing off simple things to him. Jinwoo was much stronger than the others. "Thank you, Hunter Sung." Michael stood up straight when Jinwoo spoke. He looked at Jinwoo carefully, but he realized Jinwoo was being sincere. That was a close call. If this had happened to Thomas Andre or Zhigang Lu, the attackers would have been stopped immediately. even before Michael could say he was sorry. Luckily Jinwoo seemed like a kind person. Woo. Michael breathed out a sigh of relief and wiped his forehead. He had put out the most dangerous fire. Now he could look around at what was nearby. Michael bowed to Jinwoo, again, then quickly checked on Norma to see if she was okay. Mrs. Sellner. What happened? Michael, you're sweating a lot. Do you feel sick? Michael was worried and starting to sweat. But Norma was even wetter. What was going on? Jinwoo was concerned and walked over to her, but she could barely look at him. Her body trembled badly. Michael bit his lip. They couldn't keep going with her feeling this way. They had brought Jinwoo to the table, but couldn't use their best plan. Norma wasn't feeling well enough to use her ability. Michael looked at Jinwoo with a serious face. Mrs. Sellner doesn't seem to be feeling well. Can we call you later? At the same time, an important visitor arrived at the Hunters Association of Korea. It was President Shigeo Matsumoto from the Hunters Association of Japan. The two presidents sat down at a table facing each other. The only other people present were the two translators. President Go began speaking. I learned about Mr. Goto. This is very sad. President Matsumoto looked sorrowful, but her expression quickly changed. I am here to talk about what happens next, not what has already happened. President Go nodded in agreement. There were several things they needed to figure out, things between Korea and Japan. The first task was dividing the special stones. The original idea was to split them after the ants were all gone, the next year. But Jinwoo had dealt with the ants. Japan already knew this because they had seen what Jinwoo did using their satellite cameras. What is he planning to do? The ants around Jinwoo's son are vanishing. The creatures he controls have begun to search. They are spreading across the entire island. This can't be happening, but it was actually happening. All the magic on Jeju Island vanished suddenly, except for a very strong magical energy that everyone thought came from Jinwoo. He had incredible power, moved in surprising ways, and quickly defeated magical creatures without hesitation. Could anyone find a hunter better suited to help Japan than Jinwoo-sung? President Matsumoto smiled, remembering what the control center had been like. He showed President Go some papers he had brought. What are these? President Go asked, taking the papers. A message saying Japan gives up its claim to the special stones on Jeju Island. President Go wasn't sure if President Matsumoto was telling the truth, but his eyes grew wide as he read the papers. President Matsumoto was being honest. Why would the Hunters Association of Japan give up so much money when they had already lost a lot? President Go quickly understood the reason. They want us to give them Hunter Jinwoo-sung. Interesting. President Go relaxed in his chair and began to laugh. Sadly, he isn't part of the Hunters Association. Even if he had been, President Go didn't plan on letting such a skilled hunter go. I knew that would be your answer. President Matsumoto had thought so. But he works very closely with the Hunters Association in Korea. Also, right now, the only way to contact him is through the association. The Hunters Association of Japan didn't have as much information as the Hunter Command Center in the United States. That meant President Matsumoto needed to ask the Hunters Association of Korea to contact Jinwoo for him. I am not asking for anything in return. I just want a chance to talk with him. Are you saying you would give up a huge amount of money for this one opportunity? President Matsumoto quickly agreed. Japan had lost 10 of its best hunters on Jeju Island. They really needed to find new people quickly, and they still had extra money set aside for the hunters who had died, so they had plenty of funds available. If it meant getting Jinwoo to come to Japan, the special stones would be worth the cost. But then I say no. He didn't think President Go would respond like that. I'm sorry. Did I hear you correctly? You mean you won't allow it? President Matsumoto was very surprised. He thought he could persuade the hunter to join them, but right now he was only asking President Go if he could speak with Jinwoo. He hadn't thought President Go would say no. Are you afraid Hunter's son will go to Japan instead? No. President Go shook his head. You shouldn't have any of the special stones from Jeju Island, the Korean president said firmly. The Japanese interpreter looked worried at President Go's strong statement. Sir, are you sure I should translate that exactly as you said it? Yes, please. Tell him everything I said, exactly as I said it. President Matsumoto's face turned red when he heard the translation. He spoke louder, clearly upset. President Go, what is going on? That's what President Go said, and then he slowly began speaking in Japanese. I would like to talk to you without anyone translating. President Matsumoto was very surprised. You can speak Japanese. When I was a kid, my dad had a small business in Japan. It had been a long time, so it was hard to have detailed talks. The two translators were sent away after President Matsumoto agreed. He spoke first. 10 of our top hunters gave their lives for your country, and among those who died was Riji Goto, our best hunter. If you don't agree to my plan, I will have to take other actions. We want the Korean government to give us the half of the special stones they promised, and also some money to help the families of the hunters who were hurt. President Go smiled unkindly. President Matsumoto, you seem to think you are in control. President Matsumoto stood up quickly, and his eyes showed his anger.